Fate dating. In 2016, I was urged by my family to return to my hometown. They said that something important needed my presence. I thought there was something really important, so I put all my work aside and then urgently packed my luggage back home. When I got back to my hometown, met everyone in my family, I was really shocked at that time. Turns out people are constantly repenting me just because they wanted to arrange a blind date for me. This is insane. I impotently followed their arrangement and went to the blind date. My cousin took me to the meeting place. It took her a while to observe carefully, then told me, "Bro, it looks like your collar is not very neat." My family arranged for me today as a colleague of my cousin who is my age. I don't know who she is or how she looks yet, but they still insisted I prepare to come here and wait. This is so disturbing. But since I'm a neat freak, when I heard my cousin say that, I quickly touched my collar. Then whispered, "Damn, it was so frustrating just now that I forgot to do up the collar. But is it that necessary to be so careful?" Up to now, I am 28 years old. In my hometown now, many people around my age are married, even have a few children. Maybe that's why my family is very worried about my marital status. Looks like my cousin overheard my whisper. She was a bit serious and told me, "Brother, the first impression is very important. You came here anyway. Then act a little bit serious, please." I've always had my point of view like this. This kind of romance has to depend on destiny, and it can't be forced. I don't believe in this stupid blind date stuff. I'm just here today because people have been yapping at me endlessly. Anyway, it's necessary to show some courtesy. I do up my clothes to look perfect. I had just finished editing and saw my cousin waving at someone. She said, "Over here." I think it's definitely that one, so I turned around. As I see, over there is a slightly chubby girl, along with quite thick makeup on her face, which I don't like very much. I heard my cousin called her Amelia. As she approached, Amelia raised her hand to my sister and asked, "How long have you been coming?" At this point, my cousin stood up, looked toward Amelia, pointed toward me, and said, "This is my cousin. You two get to know each other." We looked at each other, and all said, "Hello." To be honest, I didn't feel anything when I met this girl, not even touching. She was even not the one I was looking for. I even boycott her thick makeup layer a little bit. Then my cousin sat down next to her. After a few questions about relatives' names, the topics they talked about were my house, car, and monthly income. Because this girl is not my taste and asks such delicate matters directly like this, I feel incredibly uncomfortable. Guess the result of today's blind date? This goddamn blind date was, of course, a failure. Pretty sure Mom is going to complain to me a lot about this when I got home. Surely anyone who has ever been in a situation like me can properly guess what my mother would say. My mother scolded me again, her tone quite grumpy. "Take a look at what you did. You're a bunch of years old, not that young enough to be so picky. When will you be able to get married? Mom, that girl is not good at all. She's a person who values matters, not delicate at all. Plus, I don't feel anything about her. I didn't even want to hear what Mom's saying. I just wanted her to understand how bad was the one I met. Can't we afford that little money? You've been earning money for so long and still can't afford those? If you want to marry someone, they gotta ask about your conditions. It's a crucial thing in their life anyway. Stop making excuses every time. After all, my mom's just expecting a grandson. Maybe she doesn't even care who I marry. Even if I can get the female pig that can give my mother a grandson, pretty sure she won't be bothered." While my mother was talking, my grandfather came up. He said, "Lucas dear, Grandpa. Tomorrow, Mrs. Olivia's daughter from the old neighborhood will come here for a visit. I heard that she is beautiful, gentle, and obedient. Remember to prepare really well." What on earth is going to happen again? Grandpa, how can you have the same idea as my mom and cousin? I can kinda guess what he meant. Another blind date, this time right at my house. His face stiffens when he hears me, then he raises his stick and points at me. I said, "You must prepare for tomorrow, otherwise don't blame why I break up with you." "Alright, I know. Everything will be as you wish." This year, he is over 80, and I don't dare to make him mad. So I had to accept this little bit of discomfort. "Be careful, Grandpa, sit down then talk." After my mother and cousin helped him sit down, I suddenly heard him say that I had met Mrs. Olivia's daughter. "When you were in kindergarten, you two were very close." He also said a lot about that girl, sentence by sentence saying how nice she was. My grandpa said, "I gradually recalled the old memories about a lovely cute girl that I usually played during kindergarten years. Don't worry, Dad, tomorrow I'll drag this brat properly in front of the girl." My mother spoke to my grandfather in a firm voice. Then my mother turned to shout at me, "Prepare yourself well, don't make Grandpa angry." My gosh, I'm so sick of these things. I don't know when I will be able to be at peace again. When that girl was coming, I kept in mind the silhouette of a little girl, though lovely, but seemed rather chubby. She was close to me when we were kids, according to my grandfather's story. But by the time my mother brought her in, what I saw was a girl whose body was quite fit, completely different from what I envisioned in my memory. "Hi everyone. This girl is ordinary, does not stand out much, but she has a pretty gentle face. The important thing I notice is that she doesn't put on much makeup. This gave me a pretty good impression. Sit down, dear, make yourself at home." My family seems to be very enthusiastic about this girl. After she sat down, my mother started chattering about everything with her. Through the words of my mother, I realized how classy I am. During the conversation, she didn't ask about my house, car, or monthly income, but listened attentively to my mom's talk and added answers to my mother's questions. The indoor atmosphere is extremely happy. This is probably the most comfortable blind date I've had since the beginning until now. But there's one thing, her appearance and condition are not the criteria for me to choose as a life partner. After a long conversation, it was time to finish the blind date. My whole family took her to the door. "Be careful on your way home. See you again, let my son see you off for a bit." With that, my mother pushed me forward. She said, "Go see Emma off, don't just stand there." After that, I obeyed my mother to accompany Emma for a while. While we're walking, we also talked a few words. She asked me, "How many times have you gone on this kind of blind date?" "This is my third blind date. Were you also forced to be like this?" I feel sorry that anyone has the same fate as me. Our problem is indeed related. Almost everyone parents forced their children to nonsense blind dates, they just can't get it. If it does not include you, there were 6 people before that. Gosh, it turns out her blind date history is much thicker than mine. Wow, 6 is pretty much that number. Adults indeed make us bothered. After a few words like that, we seem to be closer to each other at first. There are also more topics to talk about. Emma's way of talking makes anyone feel comfortable and natural. Talking with her does not feel constrained or hesitant. I continued to wonder, having many blind dates so far, but can't you choose anyone out of the other 6? There is no one I feel suitable for. They only care about money and appearance. In this regard, we have had the same experience again. I deeply sympathize with Emma. I just want a simple family and a husband who understands and cares about me. Perhaps this is really difficult. It turns out we are both true love pursuers. Well, I hope my family can listen to what you said and change their mind right away," I said in a voice filled with boredom and sadness. I just want a very peaceful love. Why is it so difficult? Well, this seems difficult to come true if our families keep pressing us like this. It's hard when the parents don't understand their children at all. Going for quite a long distance, it's already close to Emma's house. At that time, I scratched my head and said, "It's also close to your house. I think I should go now." Before returning, we added each other on social networks. After I got home, showered, and had dinner all done, I went to bed and talked on the phone with Emma until late at night. We talked about all kinds of issues. At this point, I think I'm a little bit into her. I kept on talking enthusiastically but forgot about the time until I suddenly looked at my watch and realized that it was too late. I said good night to Emma, then I also went to sleep. I slept quite late today compared to usual. While I was deep asleep, I suddenly had a rather strange dream. I dreamed that someone came and knocked on my house door. Then, when I saw my grandfather open the door, I also heard a man's voice. Grandpa said to the man at the door, "You're here. Let's go inside." The man entered the house. He looked only in his 40s, and my grandfather was in his mid-80s. I wonder how they are related to each other. "Have some tea, my friend." My grandfather poured tea and invited the middle-aged man. I couldn't understand why I was here and observed every angle of the living room and the two of them. "How was the meeting today between Lucas and Emma? Are there any advantages, my dear?" "Well, it looks like they're talking about my blind date mate and me this afternoon." I continued to listen attentively to the story. "It looks pretty good, man. Surely it will work out." Grandpa also told the middle-aged man opposite that he had done his best to nurture this relationship. The two of them are not young anymore. The faster they will get married, the better. The middle-aged man's voice kept ringing in my ears. The clothes that seemed quite old on him also caught my attention. Nowadays no one else wears such old clothes. What a hurry. Getting married can't be urged. Everything will be all right. Don't rush, or you'll wreck the whole thing. My grandfather, though in his mid-80s, his voice was still very fluent. The two talked for a long time. The topic was to settle my marriage with Emma. After that, the middle-aged man must leave. My grandfather saw the middle-aged man off to the door. My dream is so strange. I fell asleep while thinking about that strange dream. Suddenly there was a ringing sound of messages from my phone. That bell pulled me out of my sleep, as well as the thought of the strange dream just now. The phone got a message. It was Emma's message to me. She invited me to her house to pay a visit. Surprisingly, I thought maybe she felt that yesterday's meeting was quite successful. She also feels okay with me, so she wants me to come home and see her parents. Either way, it seems like we get along pretty well, so I replied that I would come soon. I'm awake. After finishing preparing everything, I took a taxi to Emma's house. On the way, I stopped by to buy something as a greeting present. What waited for me inside her house was a bunch of questions from many people. But all of a sudden, I didn't see the middle-aged man from yesterday's dream among them. Emma sat next to me and kept helping me to get rid of the consecutive questions from everyone. "Don't you worry like that. My family is not that hard to deal with." After a few hours of non-stop inquiring, everyone also pulled out, giving space for the two of us. It is so comfortable. While I was absent-mindedly, I looked towards the wall of Emma's house. I see a lot of pictures on the wall. I told Emma I want to go around, then walked over to the wall hanging lots of Emma's family pictures and slowly observed everything. According to my grandfather's story, I suddenly saw the familiar image that I envisioned, a pretty, chubby, and lovely girl. I pointed to the photo with my hand and said to Emma, "When I met you again, I was quite surprised. I just remembered that she was a little chubby but adorable, the girl I played with when I was a kid." You changed a lot when you grew up. As they say, girls gonna change a lot when they grow up. Emma now looks less adorable but adds a little attraction. Well, just yesterday, I feel that she didn't fit my standards at all, and today I find her much prettier. I kept looking at every photo hanging on the wall. There are many interesting photos, it seems that when looking at any pictures. I also had to turn back to ask Emma something about that photo. All heard Emma tell an interesting story related to the photo that I pointed out. So many interesting stories, so interesting that I listened attentively and forget about the time. Many stories make me laugh constantly. Suddenly, I accidentally saw a photo that made me a little bit of a snort. The person in that photo is the middle-aged man in my dream yesterday. I pointed to the photo and turned to Emma. Is this Emma's relative? I don't know why I dreamed of a conversation yesterday between my grandpa and the person in this photo. Everything was so real. I've looked a few more times closely. The man in the photo is the middle-aged man who appeared in my dream last night, who came knocking on my door, chatting with my grandfather and discussing my marriage. I don't have any memory of this man. I've never met him before, just remembering his form in a dream. At first, I thought he was Emma's relative, but looking at the people who sat and talking to me didn't see this man at all. I thought that last night's dream was fictional, that man didn't exist. When I saw this photo, I was quite surprised. But then I think this must be a relative of Emma. I probably met and forgot him when I was a kid with Emma was also very close. I don't seem to have heard Emma answer the question before, so I asked a similar question. How does this man relate to you? Why didn't I see this uncle before, Emma? Oh, what are you saying? The person in the photo is my grandpa. He passed away more than 40 years ago, when we haven't born yet. How could you meet him and dream about him? Perhaps it's just mistaken. Oh, unbelievable. The middle-aged man in that photo is Emma's grandfather, who has been gone for more than 40 years. That face, that eye-catching old suit, how could it be mistaken? This is not mistaken. Maybe because the two houses are close to each other, so in the photo album at my house, there might be a picture of your grandpa. So I can dream about him, I guess so, 'cause it's been a long time since he passed away. Suppose this is Emma's grandfather, who has passed away for years. In that case, it is quite understandable why Lucas's grandfather, who was outside his 80s with the middle-aged man in his dreams, could talk in an equal tone. I told Emma a little about my dream last night. She also finds it quite confusing. But we also have the same thought that Emma's grandpa came back to remind us of something, perhaps our wedding. Stop overthinking. Let's go out with everybody. Oh yes, Emma, wait for me. Emma and I went outside together one after another. Maybe we all implicitly understood something. Perhaps the predestined relationship between Emma and me was predetermined a few decades ago. Up to this point, both yin and yang are eager to make an end they have chosen for us. Fortunately, we both felt we were meant for each other. After that, we got married with the blessings of many people, and we were very happy together.